Wife told me she has invited a special guest at our wedding and it turned out to be my high school bully, so I decided to call off the wedding unless she apologizes to me, but she refused. Now she's going mad on social media because I called off a wedding over a minute harmless prank. Had things been normal or rather ideal, I would have been on my honeymoon at this moment instead of writing a stupid Reddit post to get perspective from people I don't even know. I had no idea life would turn around to be so cruel and unpredictable. I should be in Greece right now with the woman I consider to be the love of my life before she broke my trust. Carved a dagger out of it, and pierced my heart with it. I was supposed to get married to Diana, female 28, who I've been in a relationship with for 3 years now. The relationship was never problematic, so I had never anticipated that something like this could happen. It was actually one of my best and most secure relationships, which is why now I feel like maybe I did overreact and cause such a fuss over what was a harmless prank. In high school, there was a guy named Aaron who was the stereotypical bully. He was good at sports, a little dumb otherwise and unnecessarily cruel. There was no reason for him to be this wicked and wild. I know there is a general tendency for everyone to look for some sob story and try to whitewash every villain that they come across. Thanks. But there was absolutely no redeeming quality to Aaron. He was just pathetic, disgusting, and a bonehead. And, honestly, with the kind of stunts he used to pull off in school, he should be rotting in some kind of remand home. The problem was that his father was a powerful figure in our city. We come from a small town, so nobody could do jack about him. Everyone in school knew he was a bully, and nobody had the guts to stand up against him, not even the teachers. One day, I had had enough, and I went to the principal of the school to complain, and he said that he would look into it and do something about it. A month passed, and nothing happened. Aaron hadn't stopped, so I knew the principal hadn't done anything. I went to the office again, this time with my dad. My dad forced the principal to make a written complaint so that it was in the school records. I was too young to understand that at the time, but now I do. Dad knew that if we tried to escalate the situation outside the school, the principal could just claim that I had never come to them with a complaint, so Dad ensured that we created a paper trail that couldn't be refuted. Things got serious. Aaron was called to the office and his father was called. The father didn't turn up. He was too busy, you see. On another day, his mother was called, but she didn't turn up. This happened 3 times and no parent came. So ultimately, it just boiled down to the principal giving him a verbal warning that this should not be repeated. And if it did, the school would have to take action against him. Everyone knew that the school wouldn't take any action against him. But most importantly, Aaron knew that nobody could touch him. He was invincible, and that was the moment when the bullying got exponentially worse. Earlier, it was just insults and things, but now it devolved into actual pranks. Like he would tip the guy in the school cafeteria to put a roach in my food. He would lace my usual class seat with gum, and that would stain all my clothes. He was clever about it. He wasn't abusing me either physically or verbally, but had resorted to some mean and twisted kind of mental torture, which was somehow hilarious to everyone else around me. Whenever I tried to create a fuss about it, I was called a prude and a snob and that I had no funny bone in my body. All in all, the experience was horrible. And even though it was a decade ago, I sometimes still have nightmares from it, and I hate Aaron with every fiber in my being. There is no way that I would ever forgive him even if he has changed, which the grapevine tells me he has. I don't care. I don't owe him forgiveness, and I am never going to forgive him. Aaron became a part of my past that I buried deep inside me once I left for college. I went out of state, graduated, and have never been in contact with him or in touch with him since. Both of us have a few mutuals on social media, so I would get to see him in a group photo or something once in a while, but that was the extent of it. For me, the Aaron chapter was over the minute I stepped out of school. And even though I am still traumatized by what he put me through, I had mentally just stopped engaging with his memories or that part of my life. When I met Diana around 3 years ago, we hit it off pretty quickly. 6 months into the relationship, however, she tried to pull a funny prank on me. She was the self-proclaimed prankster of her group and was quite proud of it. I had come to know this in the initial few weeks of us dating. However, I had made it very clear to her that I was not one for pranks and that it just triggered bad memories in me. She seemed to understand it, but 6 months in, she tried to play a prank on me. I got wind of it beforehand, and I thwarted her plans. We had the biggest fight of our relationship at that point in time, and I was very close to breaking up with her. I told her that if she couldn't respect such a basic demand that I had from her, I actually had no words, and she could do whatever the hell she wanted to. I was out of this mess. It was a bad fight because she said that it wasn't such a big deal, and I needed to grow a funny bone. It just kept on getting worse, and I got horrid flashbacks from school. That was when I broke down and told her what had happened to me when I was in school. She was quiet for a moment and then apologized profusely. She said that she had no idea that I had gone through this and she was very sorry. She seemed sincere about it, and I thought that I should give her the benefit of the doubt because she didn't know all my trauma associated with pranks. This was 2.5 years ago, and she had never pranked me again until the day of our wedding. I had honestly completely forgotten about that incident. I had no reason to remember it. I know it was a massive fight. But things got resolved, and she was genuinely remorseful, so we pushed past that bump. Now coming to the day of the wedding, everything was going smoothly. It was a small ceremony that we had planned with a couple of friends and family, and I was very happy. I was certain that she was the guy I wanted to spend the rest of my life with, and I thought that everything was perfect. Diana had mentioned that she had invited a special guest to the wedding a few weeks ago, but I didn't really pay much heed to it. I thought that it would be her old grandmother. I love her. She's a sweetheart, and she had told us that she wouldn't be able to make it. I had thought she had somehow managed to come anyway. It's around half an hour before I am to walk down the aisle. There are a million things running through my mind. I tried to call my man of honor, but the call isn't going through. I panic a little and calm myself and then call Sam, my best man. The same thing. The call isn't going through. I try Liam, another best man, and it says the same thing. By this point, alarm bells are blaring in my head. I call Anna, Diana bridesmaid. She says that she can't see anyone from my wedding party, essentially, the best man and my man of honor. And she was about to call me to check if everything is okay. I asked Mom, who was with me at the time, to call Dad up and find out what was happening, and she comes back all flustered saying that nobody has any idea where these guys are. I am hyperventilating at this point, and I am genuinely scared because I can't get through to anyone. I asked Anna to not tell Diana because I don't want her to get worried. Little did I know that this was her doing all along. I tried to sneak into the wedding hall in order to figure out what the hell is up, and what I see just makes the earth shake from beneath my feet. It was Aaron at the door. I don't remember anything else. I just remember gasping and collapsing on the floor. I was completely frozen. I couldn't move my damn body and a few people actually had to carry me away. There was a lot of commotion for the next couple of minutes. I remember that much. I faintly remember Diana coming towards me. She was concerned. I'll give her that. But when I got better, I don't even know how long that took. She started laughing. She said that I should have seen my face and that it was the best prank she had pulled in ages. I looked at her in disbelief. By that time, my man of honor and best man had come, so I asked them where they were. They said that they had been locked inside a room and their phones weren't reachable. Diana was the one who had called them there, and she had even taken away the phones of some of them. And Erica was the one who had locked them inside. I hissed at Eric. He has been my friend since school, and he knows about the entire Aaron thing. I asked him why he was here, and he said that Aaron was the special guest Diana was talking about. Even at that point, I couldn't get what these guys were saying. So I asked all of them to leave and told Diana that I wanted to talk to her. She said that we could talk after the ceremony because it was getting late anyway. I didn't budge, and I asked her why Aaron was there. The thing is, she knew who Aaron was. I had shown her photos from school, so it wasn't as though she had no idea who Aaron was. Apparently, Aaron got a job in the same office building as Diana, and both of them actually hit it off a few months ago. When Aaron found out that I was the one Diana was engaged to, he was overjoyed. What an absolute moron. Because he thought that since we had a friendly history together, things would be better. I asked Diana why she encouraged Aaron or even became friends with him, and his response was that Aaron had actually told him the truth of the matter. Apparently, Aaron's version was that he was not a bully, but rather a jokester, and I used to be very sensitive. That was why Diana decided that it was best if Aaron came to the wedding and we could bury the hatchet. I was too stunned to speak. I don't know what came over me. But I took off my ring and handed it to her. I told her that we were over and there was no wedding happening. All hell broke loose. I went outside, announced that the wedding was off, and thanked everyone for coming, and just took off with my family. I really don't know how my friends handled the mess after that, but they did, and they haven't told me what they did because they don't want to stress me out. This was last week and Diana has gone crazy. She's been blowing up my phone, my parents' phones. Her family is continually trying to get in touch with me, but I have just iced her out. I've been no contact these past few days, and I can't even think straight. And if that's not all, she has been slandering me all across social media, saying things like I couldn't have taken a single prank and that I was a prude and whatnot. It's a mess, and I really don't know how the hell I got into this mess. Things were perfect between us, and it wasn't supposed to be this way. I don't know what made her pull that prank. I don't even know what led me to take that decision. I saw Aaron and everything come flooding back, and I think even at that point, I hadn't thought of calling the wedding off. When I heard Diana's excuse and justification for what she did, I just lost it. I couldn't believe that the woman who had known me for so long and whom I had confided in and shared the most traumatic part of my life with had suddenly decided to believe my abuser over me. She had no reason to do that. She hadn't even told me that Aaron was working in the same building to me. Even associating with him was wrong, but maybe I'm overreacting because I'm all across social media and Diana has been cussing me out. Everyone says that I have been very dramatic about all of it and that it was foolish to throw away 3 years over one stupid joke. My parents and my friends support me, and they say that I was in the right to do what I did. But they also say that, eventually, I will have to talk to Diana, and I can't keep avoiding it for all time to come. I know that I will need to talk to her, but, God, I don't know what to say. I'm second guessing my own decision right now. Maybe all the others are right. Maybe I could have handled it better even if I was annoyed. I could have just resolved it in a different way rather than choosing to go all nuclear. I don't know what to do. I don't know where life is going to take me. It has been 2 weeks since my last post and I have finally had some time to think about what happened and why I reacted the way I did. It wasn't easy, but it had to be done. I also went through every single comment that you guys posted, and though I didn't reply to some of them, I have read all of them. I'm so thankful for you and your advice, and I'm glad I came to Reddit for help. You guys have opened my eyes to so much that I was willing to brush under the carpet because my ex-fiancé was a prankster. I didn't even realize exactly how bad the situation was and how demeaning and insulting it was to me as a partner. To all those who pointed out just how big of an a-hole Diana is, I want to say thank you, because even though she has been great in all the years before this is something that is not excusable, at least in my eyes. The funny part is that because I still haven't spoken to her about what happened on the wedding day, she is continuing to spew about me everywhere. In public, she's acting as though everything is my fault. But privately, she has been begging me to talk. I wanted to be done with the drama, so I had gone to meet her yesterday. She wanted to come home, but I said that I would only be willing to meet her in a public place. We met at a cafe, and the meeting was a disaster, to say the very least. I had hoped, stupidly, I admit, that she would at least have had some remorse, that she would have used this time to introspect and dig deep to understand why I reacted the way that I did. But no. She was her usual cocky self, and I had had enough of it. She started off by saying that I had reacted very poorly, and it had shamed her in society. She also said that it wasn't that big of a prank, and it certainly did not warrant such an overreaction. I let her speak to her heart's content and then tore her argument apart bit by bit. I told her the fact that she had even invited Aaron to the wedding was weird as hell. Why would you even think of bringing my abuser to the day that is supposed to be the most special one in my life? She had the audacity to scoff at me and say, I know how big of an abuser he was. I had never in my life imagined that she would stoop to this level and say something so cruel to me. But, well, maybe I had never seen this side of her. It took every ounce of strength in me to not jump across the table and slap her square in the face. I told her that if she believed a literal stranger over me, the man she wanted to marry, then I had nothing more to say and that I was glad I called off the wedding. She rolled her eyes, and I believe she was still treating it like a minor fight and not a breakup. She said that I was being dramatic for no reason. I needed to calm down and talk rationally. I told her that there was no more talking to be done between us because she clearly didn't believe what I said. And moreover, she chose to believe my abuser, call her to the wedding, all for what? A few cheap laughs? And nobody found it funny except her. It wasn't even a good prank at that. She then said something that just made me lose all respect for her. She said that she was willing to forgive me and take me back in spite of my silly shenanigans, but I needed to publicly admit that I was being dramatic. It was like talking to and listening to a goddamn wall. She was being so obtuse about the entire thing as if I was the one at fault. And at that point, I realized that she genuinely believed that it was me at fault. She kept on insisting that I needed to stop taking all this so seriously, and I had had enough. She was being a bonehead, and I had no interest in talking to her anymore. I just handed her my ring, and I think that is when she realized that I was dead serious about us not being together anymore. Her entire demeanor changed in an instant. It was pathetic to watch. Honestly, she started begging me to reconsider, saying that she made a mistake and whatnot. The change was disgusting because I knew it wasn't genuine. I told her that if it took me returning the ring to realize how big of a mistake this was, then she is an immature little schoolgirl. I told her that we were done and that I was not reconciling with her. She begged me to sit down so that we could talk more about this, but I was done. I walked out of the cafe, and I felt so much relief and power in that single instant. The feeling is indescribable. She's been blowing up my phone since then, apologizing, saying that she now realizes that she was wrong, but I haven't been responding at all. What is the point of realizing all this now when I have called off the wedding and given my ring back? I don't need her sick apologies anymore. I know it's going to hurt in the longer run. We've been together for 3 years. We had planned an entire life with each other. So, yeah, it is going to be difficult and it will probably hit me in a couple of days, the magnitude of it all. But it is what it is. I can't force myself to be with her again. She hasn't just betrayed my trust. I have also lost all respect for her. And for me, there's no coming back from that. None at all. So, yeah, there goes 3 years and there goes everything else. But at least I can sleep at night knowing that I made the right choice for myself. I took the advice of a lot of you around here and decided to clear the air myself. After my meeting with Diana, she was acting all needy and clingy for a couple of days. After which, she went radio silent. I had thought that maybe she had understood that it was over for good between us and good sense had prevailed. I was wrong. I got a frantic call from Alos who told me that Diana had posted a long sob story on both Facebook and Instagram for the world to see. It was a very one-sided, half-baked attempt at trying to garner sympathy. And any last ounce of respect that I felt for her evaporated the minute I finished reading all that she had written. She had basically called me every name in the book and told the world that I was the one causing her distress because I was jealous of the fact that she was making new friends, aka Aaron. She tried to portray me as a bat-crazy controlling partner, writing things like I'd always been this way, and she had had to compromise on friends and friendships because of me. That has never happened. She tried to paint me as a toxic man who had a problem with anyone that wasn't me. So much so that I was insecure over a friend that she had made in the office, and the worst part, according to her, it was just a male friend and all they wanted to do is to have a bit of laugh. Well, who knows, they might had something going on. And going to the extent of canceling the wedding and not being open to reconciliation, it showed that I was egotistical, insecure, and narcissistic. She threw together whatever words she could find and tried to malign me in the worst way possible. I had never thought that she could stoop to this level, but she proved me wrong again. And I knew that I had to do some damage control. This was getting completely out of hand and it was time for me to play some offense. Or she would just whitewash everything that he had done and become the victim in the entire situation. It took me an entire day to sort out my thoughts and write whatever I did. The text post is too long to copy here, but it didn't really say anything other than what I have already mentioned in my original post. I made sure to include the part where I was bullied by her new friend in school and that I had told her early on in the relationship that I had an aversion to pranks of this sort. I didn't mince words. I didn't try to be nice about it, but I also did not lie. Every single word that I put out for the world to see was the truth. And that was exactly what was not palatable to Diana. To say that the post blew up would be an understatement. All the people who were whining over what kind of a dirty man I was and consoling and cajoling Diana were now storming my DMs to apologize and get their act right. I was flooded with texts and calls. Surprisingly, none from Diana herself. I just got a text from her a day later calling me a non-human, not enough to be a man, and that was it. I then blocked her numbers because I don't need her in my life anymore, and I certainly don't need any more of this drama. The surprising thing that happened was that her mom reached out to me. I have always liked her. She's been the sensible kind, even though we haven't interacted a lot to be considered close. She told me that she had heard a very different story from Diana and that she was sorry for not asking me earlier. She said that she had believed her daughter and that she now realizes that that was a mistake. She apologized on her behalf, and I told her that she didn't have to. Out of all the people that reached out to me, her apology and message seemed the most genuine, and she didn't even have to apologize, if I'm being honest. It wasn't her fault that her grown daughter was behaving this way. I thankfully haven't had anything from Aaron yet, and I know I won't. If he still had the gall to stand in front of me and play that stupid prank on the day of my wedding, I can make a fairly accurate estimate of how much he would have matured in all these years. 0. The narrative has changed now, and people are boycotting Diana, both for being in a hole and for lying about everything for social media brownie points and sympathy from internet strangers. It's sad how things have turned out for her. It's sad for me too because the adrenaline rush from all this drama is going to wear off soon. And I am dreading that because that is when I will have to face reality. It's not something that can be avoided. And now I think it's time I rip the band-aid off. It has been a long time now, me swimming and drowning alternatively in this godforsaken mess. It's time I got myself out of it. I owe it to myself and my parents and friends who have stood by me in this entire episode. Thanks to all of you who supported me and made me stand firm on my decision because I was very close to retracing my steps and going back to Diana when I had first posted. I am glad I didn't go through with it, and I didn't let her gaslight me into thinking that I was the one overreacting. Hopefully, things will get better from here onwards. I'm going on a trip. Diana and I had originally planned that we would go for our honeymoon a couple of weeks after the wedding. Well, now this is no honeymoon, but I had spent considerable money on the booking, so I thought, why the hell I'm not? I'm going to go for a solo trip to Southeast Asia. I know it might sound weird to a lot of you, but I need a break. And after being in a relationship for 3 years, I need to restart and more importantly rediscover how to do things myself. I have had no contact from her now, which makes me really relieved and also a bit sad because no matter what happened I do miss her. Of course, I'm not going to go back to her, but it isn't easy letting go of an attachment that lasted for so long. So I need this trip in order to get back on track and get my mind off things. The situation isn't ideal, but I need to learn how to make the best of it.